Yeah, my screen is visible. Hello, participants. My screen is visible. Prasham, my screen is visible.
Yes, it's visible.
Yes, okay.
Yeah.
We can wait for 2 to 3 minutes. Yeah. So let me start the session. Yeah, good morning, good afternoon, good evening for all over the participants from the world. Today we have a session on multi-factor authentication in Microsoft 365. The speaker of the day is Prasham Shabra. He's an architect, author of the book M365 PowerShell and SharePoint developer. Yeah. So now moving to who we are, what we are. We are fifth IR. We stands for fifth industrial revolution. We have over 109,000 of strong community of technologists from all over the world. We deal with technical sessions, consultations, and projects on multi-cloud strategy, data science and AI, blockchain, and stream engineering. We also help technologists to share the learning and get opportunities through our partners worldwide. This is so how we are growing. We have offered 239 jobs through our platform, and we have conducted 1,000 plus sessions in our platform, and we have 365 speakers associated with our platform www.fifthir.com, and we have issued 8,000 plus certificates through our platform, and we have 25,000 plus members associated with our platform. And these are the few MEPs and master mentors who are associated with our platform. And as we are the academic partner of Alibaba Cloud, we have done few certification courses in association with Alibaba Cloud. And these are the few certification courses and the link which you can get the certificate from Alibaba Cloud. And how we can help you? We can help you to build your knowledge, digital presence, and help you in odd hours when you are looking for jobs through our community. All you can get through our link www.fifthir.com. And as a part of our community, we are going to provide free level 1 certificate to all the participants, and you can download the certificate by providing the secret code which will be provided at the end of the session. And this is a sample certificate which you can get as a part of our community and as a part of this event. And moving to the speaker of the day, it is Prasham Shabra. He is a Microsoft 365 consultant, Azure administrator, trainer, speaker, and author of the book Microsoft 365 PowerShell. He's working as an architect at Epson, and he has led different roles in the organization such as software engineer, technical lead, software architect, and architect. You can see more about him in that given LinkedIn profile. And over to Prasham Shabra.
Yeah. Thank you. Am I audible clearly?
Yes, yes, it's audible.
Yes, it's very good. Great. Okay. Thank you all for joining this session. Greetings for the day. So myself Prasham Sabadra, I'm working as a cloud architect in Apexon, Bangalore. I'm working from Pune, working from home. My major role is just to tell about myself. I'm having 18-year plus of experience, total IT experience. Started my career with .NET for 1 to 2 years, and then completely on the SharePoint, starting with the WSS 3.0, and then the subsequent versions of the SharePoint. Recently, I'm working as a M365 consultant and architect. Most of the migration projects from on-premises to cloud, and started working looking into some Azure administration as well. So yeah, I have a speaker as in multiple conferences, including some C Shop corner conferences, SharePoint Saturdays, which like in happens in Gurgaon, Noida, or even I got an opportunity to talk with the SharePoint Saturday Sweden. Yeah, and my major area is Microsoft 365. I'm avid writer, around 600 blogs on knowledge-junction.in. Here you will find all kind of articles related to the Microsoft 365 daily basis, the issues which we work on, their resolutions and new features. Microsoft is continuously updating their features, deprecating few ones. So this kind of thing you will find out. You will be up to date with the M365 or this article. On couple of days before, on 28th February, I have launched, published one book, which is Microsoft 365 PowerShell Handbook, specially for administrators who requires daily need of executing the PowerShell commands, CMDLETs, or need to write the PowerShell scripts. And then this is for the PowerShell developers as well, those who want to move towards the cloud or begin their cloud journey with Microsoft 365 thing. Ebook version is.
Prasham, your screen is not visible. Screen is not shared. Can you share your screen?
Oh, okay. How about now?
Yeah, now it is done. Okay.
Okay, thank you so much. Yeah. So I was just saying this book is published as a ebook, and in next 2 weeks the hard copy will be there. But anyway, irrespective of the book and the articles which I am writing, you could always touch base with me for your Microsoft 365 issues, or something to discuss or regarding the PowerShell and Azure administration as well. Okay, so this is about myself. Recently, I'm more interested towards the security stuff, and that's why I choose the topic, because security is a buzzword nowadays. Everybody is talking about the security, cyber security, and but it's always for me when I started, it's always confusion to where to start. What is security? If I have a Microsoft 365 in my organization, from where should I start? If I need to make secure my tenant, my organization. I need to implement the security for my team members, my company's users base. So where to start? How to start? It's a big word, actually, encyclopedia when we discuss about the security. But it's also necessary to understand the context in our context. For my organization, what is important for me? Why is the security is important? There are certain reason as well why I'm nowadays interested more toward the security and learning the security, um, discussing the security rather than taking sessions. I would say discussing the security, because it differs bit for every organization to organization, every company to company, every individual to individual. So it's always a discussion. It should be always a healthy discussion. So feel free to in between interrupt me if you have some another opinion or some another point, some another experience, or something you know more related to the security. Always feel free to discuss. I have some 2 points recently happened with me myself itself. I would like to share those before going to start our session. And those both are related to happen with the one is related to Facebook and another is related to WhatsApp. I used to have a Facebook, uh, like as we daily use wishing the birthdays, social activities like some post, a friend's post or something, chatting with in Messenger with the friends and something. So I used to use the Facebook, and then suddenly one day happened. My one cousin has asked some amount to me on Facebook Messenger. He said, "I am in need. Please give me this blah blah amount." So I thought, okay, he's my cousin. I thought, okay, I should pay him. And but then I thought, why should he's pinging me on the Facebook chat, Facebook Messenger? If he's in need, he should directly call me, or at least message me, or something like this should happen. So I called him, and he then answered. I got shocked. He said, "I never demanded the money on you on the Facebook." So then later he realized his couple of friends also called him and so that was one thing. It's a two-way authentication on Facebook is not enabled. We keep logging in. We directly close the browser. Most of the time we didn't sign in out or log out properly. Each time or sometimes we remembered password and something. Those security practices are not followed and such thing happened. That was one incident. And then I realized I must understand all the security concept. And second incident recently happened 2 weeks before on WhatsApp. Again, one person who knows me, he demanded that I'm in hospital, and he said his GPay number and give me the that much amount. So I thought, okay. I asked what happened. He says his daughter is admitted. I tried to call him, then he said no, I can't speak. Uh, just chat. I'm in hospital. I can't speak. I thought, and I even started transferring to the amount which I want to, which I was able to give. But at the same time, then GPay has. I'm doing GPay actually. He shared another number on which I need to GPay it. So I'm doing that. But at the same, as I proceed to pay, GPay has Google Pay is a very good security feature, or um, we could say that they have very good option. This shows me this user is a suspicious. Make sure you know him before you are transferring money in the red box. You might have this kind of scenario as well. And then I stopped to transfer the money. Then I had a doubt. Then I again called that person, try to, and then he again pick up the phone and said he know somebody is using his number, GPay number or a WhatsApp number, and asking the GPay amount. So then I realized why nowadays these many number of cases, fraud cases, uh, cyber cases, those are getting increasing. And once we have given amount or once we are got in a trap, then we don't have an option. Even though we complain or something, it's very difficult to track these kind of activities or to track these kind of users who stole our amounts or who stole our data. This happened with me, but this is not the case. Means not only limited to the amount, but this is also limited to your data. Somebody want to your confidential data and then ask for ransom amount. So these kind of cases are day by day increasing, and that's why the need of security, to understanding of security, awareness of security is very necessary. In both the cases, now I learn the lessons. I enable for some days I stop my Facebook account. I kept it deleted, but they kept it for 30 days, and then we could recover it. And uh, then I enable two-factor authentication for Facebook as well, and nowadays for WhatsApp also it's available. So whenever I do something, I put those two-factor authentications options there. Then one more important thing, the Google page shows that red box, and if such kind of box appear, then we got an alert. That was also then we shouldn't do the activity on that number again. So then that was the reason I'm nowadays more interested to have the security, uh, the implementations. Now coming to our agenda, multi-factor authentication. That is the point which I was trying to convey. That was the two-factor authentication. So Microsoft has some guidelines for implementing the security for our organizations, because we have paying the cost of licenses to the Microsoft. That was the huge amount. We assign those licenses to our users and we make their life easy uh, by collaborations using Microsoft Teams, by implementing automations, Power Automate, Power App Forms there, and all those things. And we are paying those licenses cost. So we must have the security as well there, so that nobody could hack those our accounts and do something on the way. Or whenever we share external sharing as well. So we need to follow some rules, follow some security guidelines. So to where to start if I want to implement the security in my organization, if I want to start security implementation, so where to start? So Microsoft has shows on one their document when I was reading. uh, so I got some 10 ways to secure data, and in that first was the multi-factor authentication. And that's why the reason behind this session, uh, what is the multi-factor authentication for Microsoft 365 or Azure? Which are the different ways I could implement multi-factor authentication for Microsoft 365, that we will discuss with security default or with conditional access policies, or if I want to assign to individual users, I want to skip some emergency accounts they got. What are the different options available, or there are some PowerShell as well. And what happens when we enable the multi-factor authentication? Some, for example, your organization has already uh, some power automates implemented with some accounts. What is the best practice there? And if we enable multi-factor authentication, what happens with those accounts? So these points I'll try to discuss in the interest of the time and as the time permits. But then we could revisit anytime, and I will likely, rather than going to the slides, I will mostly try to demonstrate on the portal. So, so this is the agenda. Feel free to interrupt me. Any questions you could ask later as well, as per your convenience. Feel free to discuss anytime. So let's start. I'm moving to the next slide. At least this slide we'll discuss, and then I will go to the portal. So in one of the documentation of the Microsoft I was reading, and there they have shown the top 10 ways to secure our business data. If you see on the my slide, there is the use of multi-factor authentication, then protect admin accounts, implement security policies, manage your external sharing or calendar sharing, uh, use Microsoft 365 apps only. So these are the few uh, concepts which Microsoft suggests. And if you notice in that, the first concept is use a multi-factor authentication. So it's nothing but a two-step verification along with our username and password. There is one more type of verification. One more verification is required. That is like they may be calling your phone, sending a text on the phone, or you have authenticator app and showing the code from the authenticator app. These kind of options available. So these kind of options we could use. And Microsoft also giving data or saying the statistics that 90% of attacks or threats because of implementing the multi-factor authentications are getting reduced. And this is very big statement. 90% threat get reduced, or the attacks are get reduced. This is a very big thing. So the first step towards the implementing security in our organization, in our company, is implementing the multi-factor authentication. And I would suggest, if you are a part of the company where the Microsoft 365 is used, your team members, users, your company employees have the licenses, and if the multi-factor authentication not in place, you should suggest it out. This is good opportunity to discuss in the company, in the organization as well, and you should implement it as well, uh, as soon as possible, I would say, on emergency basis. So this is one of the security measures we should have in our organization. So it's required to use a code or authenticator app, Microsoft app on our phone, or sign into while signing into our Microsoft 365. Okay. Even though in that case we prevent hackers or attackers by uh, even though they know the password, so we are worry free because we have the second authentication option available. So to promote this, if you see on my screen, to promote this, Microsoft has promoted these kind of posters. They have given these kind of posters for self signing in or for multi-factor authentication. So they are promoting, and you could use these kind of posters with your company name. At the bottom I have knowledge junction or multi-cloud for you, so you could have the your company name there, and you could stick those posters in your organizations or wherever you want to promote the activities to increase the awareness of the security and to demonstrate how you are implementing it. So there is a link as well that you could use, aka.ms at mysecurityinfo uh, to register the multi-factor authentications. Okay, so this we saw, and then what are the options available? If we go to the definition of how the Microsoft defines the multi-factor authentication, it is the process where user is prompted during sign-in process for an additional form of identification. So we need, as we discuss, either we need to enter the code from Sale1 or provide the fingerprint scan or the code from Authenticator app and these kind of things. So there are various options are available for Azure multi-factor authentication as well, like Authenticator app, OAuth hardware token we get sometime, OAuth software tokens, SMS verification, voice call verification, Hello for Business, which is available for Windows 10 actually, and FIDO security key, which is in still preview. But amongst those, the most popular is the Microsoft Authenticator app. So you need to install the Authenticator app on your cell phone, and you need to provide the data, and then which provides the every 30 seconds it provides a new code, and that we could use. So this is the most critical first step to implement the MFA in our organization. Okay. So why, as I says, more than I said, I guess 90%, but Microsoft says more than 99% percent of identity-related attacks are stopped with the help of the MFA. And when we enable the MFA, it also blocks the legacy authentication. Legacy authentication means authentication which the providers which we only authenticate based on the username and password. The two-factor authentication won't work there. So it also stops that, and it when once we enable it, so it allows as the compulsory as a two-factor authentication. It's an additional layer of security which we provide us. Now question is how to implement the multi-factor authentication in my organization. So there are a couple of ways, but that couple of ways we could implement. One option is implementing the security defaults feature. So what is the security default feature, which comes to as a free of cost that comes with our uh, Microsoft 365 licenses. So it doesn't require the extra license or extra cost for that. So it's one of the approach to set the basic identity security mechanism, which is recommended by Microsoft. Let me show you on the portal how it goes. Just resize browser. Yeah, so yes. So I'm closing this. I'm logging again to show you guys again. So this is my Microsoft 365 Admin Center. I'm logged in with the my account. If you notice this, yeah, prasham.knowledgejunction1.onmicrosoft.com with account. Knowledge Junction one is my local development tenant, and I took this tenant under the Microsoft 365 developer program. If you are aware about this program, then this is very nice. What we'll say, given the or courtesy of the Microsoft, basically given to us developers, like to us to do the POC for testing purposes, for getting up to date with the features. So, but if you don't know, you just Google it out, Microsoft 365 developers program. You will get a link, register. Initially they gives us the E5 development license, and which that license cover almost all the 90% feature of the Microsoft 365, which one developer is required to test it to do the POC. And as per the base on the usage, it Microsoft 365 renews it. So this my knowledge junction one, this local tenant I'm using since last couple of years. So this is very good feature, not a feature, but a practice provided by the Microsoft, courtesy of the Microsoft, and we should benefit it. So this is my local development tenant. I am logged in as a global admin. My account is, this is a global administrator, and I'm logged in as a Microsoft 365 admin center. So what I need to do as a first step, I need to enable the MFA for all my users. And as Microsoft is saying, we could do that with the security default feature. So where is this feature? So if I go to the admin center, Microsoft 365 admin center, I just clicked it again. It's loading. Then I need to go to the Azure Active Directory admin center. So under admin centers at the bottom in Microsoft 365 admin center, there is Azure Active Directory admin center. Actually nowadays what happened, they recently changed this Azure Active Directory admin center is now changing to the intra.microsoft.com, intra admin center, if you notice that. But here in Microsoft 365 admin center, it shows the Azure Active Directory admin center only. So it's nothing but a intra admin center, Microsoft Intra. If you see on the tab name, signing into the Microsoft Intra, so it's signing into the Microsoft Intra. It's just signing it. So we'll be redirected to the Microsoft Intra portal, from where Azure Active Directory. Let me log in. I hope it shouldn't ask me the password. I almost forgot. Yeah, okay, thankful. Not. Yeah, so we are now into the Microsoft Intra Admin Center. We are navigated from the Microsoft 365 Admin Center. So it's just still loading. Yeah, and here you will see the, as we came to the Azure Active Directory, we are coming to, this is Azure Active Directory is now part of the Microsoft Intra Admin Center. Okay, now I'll go to the Overview tab. Under the Azure Active Directory, I clicked on the Overview, and here under the Properties section, here security default you will see at the bottom. See the security default, and it shows me warning as well, your organization is not protected by the security default. And what is the security default? Security defaults are the basic identity security mechanism recommended by the Microsoft. When we enable this, we are enforced to use the multi-factor authentication for all the users. See this, when we enable this, recommendation will be automatically enforced in our organization. Administrators and users will be better protected. Related to the identity based attack, identity related attacks. Okay, why this was as Microsoft since last couple of years Microsoft forcing it, but why it's disabled? Because there is another way to implement the multi-factor authentication in my organization with the help of the conditional access policies. But conditional access policies comes with the extra cost. It comes with the AD Active Directory P1 and P2 licensing, I believe so. So either we could have the enable the Microsoft security defaults, or either we could have the conditional access policies in place. So previously, while demonstrating in one of the another session, I have demonstrated the conditional access policy, and then when we use the conditional access policies, the security defaults get disabled by default. So that's why that was this. Otherwise, if you know, go to your tenant, just check once whether it's by default enable or not. So if I click on manage security defaults, the right pane opens security default, and there are the options enabled and disabled. And now I'm enabling it. Okay. Now as soon as I enable it, it will have the MFA for all my accounts. And see this warning as well. Microsoft is giving every time the warnings. Here is one warning: your organization is not protected by security default. Then here is another warning: with security default disabled, your organization is vulnerable to common identity related attacks and all those things. One again that we discussed in already in the slide, that 99% of accounts are compromised could be stopped by using the multi-factor authentication, which is the feature of security default basically. Okay, Microsoft security team see a drop of 80% in compromise rate when security defaults are enabled. So I would request it, if it's in your organization, if it is not enable it, please check, discuss your security team, admin team, and make it enable. Yeah, but if you are using the conditional access policies, then it's okay. Then it's okay to have the disable the security defaults. Okay, so let me enable it. From here I could enable the conditional access policies. Okay, and see the warning changes to the information now. Okay, and I'm saving it. So successfully saves the security default policy. Now let me show you one thing again. I'm going to the Microsoft 365 admin center. I'm going to the users, active users. What I'm trying to see, trying to show you, let's see. And there is one user called this third user. I'm clicking on that. We are managing multi-factor authentication for this user. I'm again logged in with the global admin account. Yeah, if you see this, this is the third user and it shows me a disable. But now we have enabled the security defaults as well. So let me log in with this user. Let me show you one thing. I'm opening the Chrome into the new incognito mode. Portal.office.com. I'll just stop sharing for a second since I need to copy the password for this user. Let me copy it from my OneNote. I hope password is correct. I copied it. I again sharing the screen. I hope the screen is visible now. So the username is third user. My bad. Let me correct the spelling of my tenant. I'm pasting the password. Let me stop it again. Let me take the correct password. Just give me a sec. Yeah, I'm sharing my screen again. I'm opening again a new window. I want to log in with that third user. Okay. Just to show which are the multi-factor authentication options enabled for this user. I guess, let me share it. Maybe not sure why this account is here, but then what I want trying to show, let me show you with the my original actual global admin account. When we go to the my account page, yep, here. When we go to the view account page, there we have an option which the second level criteria I need to select for the authentication. So if I go to the security info, it shows me the redirects me to the my sign in page. We could directly come this page on the through URL as well. Yeah, it's loading. Yeah, if you see here. So these are the alternative options after the username and password which we could have, and which could add those respective sign-in methods as well. So for example, I have a call on phone on this number. Once for this account, once like I could authenticate it with the username and password, then I have the first option phone, and then otherwise I have an option of the Microsoft Authenticator app. So in this way, you could we could change the default sign-in method, which is for me now is the Microsoft Authenticator notification to get the code from the Authenticator app, or otherwise these are the respective methods, and I could add the new sign-in method as well, like here again Authenticator app, which is option available for me. So in this way, when we enable the multi-factor authentication, our users can go their view account page, and they could add the respective sign-in methods and set the default sign-in method as well, as I said here, the Microsoft Authenticator. So this is regarding related with the security default. So when we enable the security defaults, what happens? All users in tenant must we need to register with the multi-factor authentication. They need to register, have the 14 days time available. So either using their Microsoft Authenticator app or another second level verification method. So if 14 days pass and user won't able to sign, so they are not able to sign until we complete the MFA registration. This is the recommended method of the Microsoft for every organization, and it comes with our Microsoft 365 licenses. It doesn't require any extra cost available, so it's no extra cost. It's available for all our basic licenses of the MFA. Okay, now so as we saw, we could enable this security default setting from the Azure Active Directory Admin Center. You will require the Azure Active Directory Administrator role, or at least the global administrator role for enabling this. So these are the AD roles which we required for to AMA page time when we like global admin, exchange admin, security admin, these kind of roles. So as I already mentioned, this is free for all our Office 365 subscriptions. One common thing is it is enabled by default get for all the users in tenant. We don't have an option to exclude some users uh, to not to have the security defaults feature or to disable the uh, security default features. And as we mentioned, if we enable the conditional policies, then we are not able to subscribe for security default. So it's either way. Either we could use the conditional default conditional policies, but as I mentioned, if you have only Microsoft 365 licenses and no extra cost want to pay, so at that time, and MFA is my organization is a small size organization or mid-level organization, and MFA is enough for implementing the security, then I would go for the security defaults. But if my organization is big organizations and more kind of very active, and I have the using the Azure as well and Azure services as well, then I would go for the implementing the conditional policies. So this security default also blocks the legacy authentication protocols. So as I mentioned, legacy authentication means authentication which is just a request made by the clients who don't have the modern authentication like Office 2010 client or something, and we could log in with only the username and password, or the clients which applications which use the older protocols such as SMTP or POP3 or IMF. So best practice is to turn off the basic authentication for our organization, legacy authentication, because this legacy authentication doesn't support the MFA, and we could turn off this through the Microsoft 365 admin center as well from the settings section. So this is the one of the way or approach here. If we go to the modern authentication, let me go and I will show you that as well. So if I go to the Microsoft 365 admin center again, let me go to there. I have a screenshot for each and every screenshot in the PPT as well. So if I go to the settings, my ORG settings, there is option called modern authentication. Let me see if I could see it. Yes, this. When we click on this modern authentication, it opens the right pane. And since we already have it enabled, so there is, see this, your organization has security defaults enabled, which means modern authentication to exchange online is required and basic authentications are blocked. Since we enable now the security default from the Azure Active Directory Admin Center, this setting is by default enable, and it also mentioning that if we want to change, and again we need to offer the legacy authentication for somehow for our, if our some application are using those, then we need to disable the security defaults, then it not going to work it out. Okay. So so make sure that if you these legacy authentications are blocked and the security defaults is enabled here. Okay. Then these are the PowerShell CMDLET, but I'll discuss this in few minutes. Before that, I would like to show you the conditional access policies. So let me go to the my Azure portal to have the conditional access policies. Azure AD conditional access. Yeah, so if you see here, so it's in the protect and secured Azure Active Directory, protect and secure, and in the conditional access. So here we could have the new policy, we could have the implemented. So for example, if I need to create some conditional access policy that for my app must use the multi-factor authentication when say kind of app, kind of Microsoft Graph Explorer or something, these kind of apps. And if my developers want to use, then they must log in with the multi-factor authentication or something. So we could implement the policy for that. For example, let's say I click on the new policy and consider like Graph Explorer MFA. Here I could select the users or yeah, here I could select the cloud apps or something. Say select the app, you could select it. Let me search for Graph, and here is the Graph Explorer. So I'm just selecting this app. Yep, the Graph Explorer is the selected, and what should be the condition for that? Say either client apps or say from these locations only or that kind of thing. But yeah, I'll just go ahead now, access control, and here you have in various options. Either you could directly block the access to this app, or otherwise you will have the require multi-factor authentication, the require authentic. These are the various options. We could have the app protection policy as well, required whenever this app is accessed, required the password change as well. So let's see, consider the required multi-factor authentication. So I selected that. This is either we need all options selected if we have multiple options, or otherwise anyone this kind of setting here. Let's have the select. So one app is selected. So whenever the user will use the Graph Explorer uh, app, they will need to be a multi-factor authentication. So let's have the create. See this warning, this is very important. Security defaults must be disabled to enable the conditional access policy. So here the security default is enabled, and that's why we can't use the Azure AD conditional access policy. There is one more difference I will just like to highlight here. There is a Azure conditional access policies as well, but those are like for the advanced kind of policies which we need to implement for our organization, and we have the Azure licenses there. Then we could go for the Azure conditional access policies. Otherwise, this come as like if I develop a license with mine Azure AD conditional policies. So here Microsoft is giving the warning we need to disable our security default. So if I click here, either I will go from again the Azure AD, or I could navigate through this link as well. They gave me the here option. See this, and let me disable this. So it's a reason for disabling action, and my organization is using the conditional access policies. And see this warning as well. Your organization won't be get protected until we create a conditional access policies to our identities, for our identities. So I'm saving this, disable, and create. It's getting created. So successfully created Graph Explorer MFA policies. So here you will notice that this conditional access policies is created, and if you want to see that details, here are the details. We selected it by default for all users for Graph Explorer app, and access control is the enable the multi-factor authentication. If you require the multi-factor authentication, if you see that user must complete additional security requirement like phone or contacts while using this app. So might be currently if I log into the Graph Explorer, here might be it already since I'm signed in, but just I want to show. So this is the Graph Explorer. Yeah, it will log in. Let me. Let me see if it asks hear me to a second level authentication. And this is also useful, this kind of policies, when recently one incident happened. Yeah, currently it logged in me successfully because I am already logged in with it. But if I close this browser and log in again, it will ask me the two-factor authentication for using the Graph Explorer. And recently I will share one incident happened in my organization while working. One ticket came to us. That ticket says that there is an application, Tableau applications. If you, sorry, if you go to the enterprise applications in Azure Ready, there are the list of applications. So one of the application my organization's users are using the Tableau. And for that Tableau application, our security team has implemented the conditional policies and it was blocked. And the user was not aware that Tableau application for my organization is blocked. Uh, Somehow it happened actually. If we are using it, we enable it later, but then this case happens and user is getting the error like something different error. That error was not showing exactly that the organization has blocked. So after lots of investigation and we put the time, and then we got to know that there is a conditional policy for this kind of application and which is blocked. As we saw that here we have enabled the multi-factor authentication required, but sometimes we block. So this is also a security measures we could implement if you don't want our users to access some apps, or at least they should ask us security team before that, okay, we are using this app or something communication happen and with a valid reasons. So we could implement this kind of conditional access policies as well in our organization as a security measure. One of the security measure we are taking in our organization that we are only allowing the Microsoft apps. All the other third-party apps or other paid apps which comes into the app store, those we have enabled, disabled by default. Those apps are not allowed. Only the Microsoft app allowed. So this is again one of the use case. One of the use case for one of the use case for implementing the uh, conditional access policies or to implementing the security concepts in my organization. Okay, now there are, so this happened where to start implementing the security in my organization. So these are the options. First steps toward having implementing security basically for the identity related attacks or something. And as statistics saying, 99% attacks threats related to the identity access, those are get reduced. Now to now to start with, you have an PowerShell as well available. Those PowerShell CMDLETs are available under the module Exchange Online Management. So if first thing we need to install this. If it is installed, then we need to import it. And as we imported, we could connect Exchange Online using Connect Exchange Online. So these are the prerequisites. We need an Exchange Online management module. We need to connect to the Exchange Online. And then there is a PowerShell CMD set organization config. OAuth client profile enable, like this is to enable the modern authentication for the Exchange Online. To disable it, we need to make it false. And there is a method called get organization config. Through this PowerShell CMDLET, we could check whether that was enabled or modern authentication enabled or disabled. So that was conditional access policies which we discussed. The important point is what is required in my organization. It's a security default or conditional access. As we discussed, when we want this pre-configured security settings in place, this is just on and off setting. We could go for the security default. And if we have the AD premium licenses available, then we could implement for the conditional access. If we need MFA for all the users in our tenant without any extension or special case, then the security default option, this includes the admins as well. But sometimes we have very complex security requirement. We need some emergency account. There is a concept called emergency accounts, the accounts which don't have the MFA enabled. They have very strong password, and those accounts are only the few members of your organization or couple of members of your team or something. That time we don't have an option, rather conditional access. So organization who want to increase their security feature but don't know how to and where to start. So this is again one of the security default. So what is the security posture? These are the some criteria rules provided by the Microsoft, which measures uh, against the rules implemented in our organization. You might be aware, but for example, if I again go to the admin center, so now there is a in one of the admin center, there is a security admin center. Let me go there. Show all security admin center, which I guess redirect to the Microsoft Defender portal, and where it shows the security posture of your account as well. So yeah, meanwhile it opens. So, and if the organizations are using free tier of Azure Active Directory license, then we have the security. So that's why one of the point I mentioned that if we is a small or mid-sized organization and no complex security requirements, and it's okay with the MFA is only consideration like no multi-locations. So I need to implement the conditional access policies for multiple location if user is in that location or in this geolocation or something. So if you see this, this is the Microsoft Defender Admin Center, Microsoft 365 Defender, and it shows the security score. Now see how less the security score it's showing. More the security score, more my security is organization. If I click here, it will list down me. Yeah. So recommended actions, create safe link policies, enable policy to block legal authentication, legacy authentication, safe attachments, and since the multi-factor, since the conditional policies we are using, otherwise it comes as a MFA as well here, and which increases, which decreases your security score. If we enable it, increases the security upon. So if you notice this, my activity 0.82 point registered for ensure all users are can complete multi-factor authentication. Registration completes within the 14 days, and it gives very good details as well, which users are affected, what is the impact, and history, password cracking, and all those things you could share it out. The link is as well managing the Azure. There is an implementation tab which shows is how to implement this, and it's very nice actually. If you go to the Microsoft security score in the Microsoft 365 Defender as well, you will notice this. Okay, so this is the way, this is I want to convey from where to start implementing the security in my organization. MFA is a beginning for this. Then there are multiple ways to implement the MFA. One of the ways is security default or conditional access based on, I must first understand what is the requirement of my organization, and through which approach will be the more secured or more security in my organization based on that. Then there are some more measures as well, like which I shown you the portal, this Microsoft 365 Defender. This is a portal where we have like could have the security score and all the actions and all those things. Then this Microsoft 365 Defender is for my endpoints as well. uh, Endpoints means my devices as well. My email and collaboration, that means the my Microsoft 365 where they exchange. Then for my cloud apps, the apps which we are using, these are all are the apps which we are using and or more apps. So this is the Microsoft Defender provided the services for securing for my cloud apps, for my Office 365, like emails and collaborations, Exchange, for Intune, like which is for the devices, and then it gives me a very good like security scores, and I could have the threat analytics and hunting. And one more important, this requires extra licenses, but if you go to the trial section, this trial section is very good. I'm using this trial Defender for Office 365 trial, and then it also like Defender for vulnerability, compliance trial, compliance assessment. You could try it now. So these trials are also very good to start to understand. Uh, like recently, it's like Microsoft Purview, so it required separate. So I have the trial that I could use. So if you go to the trial section, I guess this is also accessible from the Microsoft 365 Admin Center here. There must be somewhere options to have the trials to check the trials. So we could check these out, those trials which Microsoft 365 provides. Here are very good links for like trainings as well. Uh, Trainings as well. So this is the way in this session basically I need to convey, and we need to start our journey with the security. Uh, if we get a chance, next session maybe whenever it is possible, we'll cover on the Microsoft 365 Defender, the next steps toward the security for my organization. Okay, as in the interest of time, I'm concluding here. Uh, yeah, any questions or any point to discuss, any thoughts to share, please help yourself. Please share.
So, participants, if you have any questions or any questions, you can post it in the chat, or you can unmute yourself. No, yeah, you can unmute yourself and you can ask your questions.
Or if it not now, you could anytime touch base with me, either through LinkedIn or email communication. So you are welcome anytime.
So one question is there. Some one
Uh,
question is
y-
there. Do
yes,
we do we use OAuth terminology in MFA?
it is in chat box.
Yeah, it's in chat box.
No, I have asked it previously. So I think in your slide I have seen that it is previously itself I asked what is the same MFA it is used in all cloud technologies. It's so it is similarly it is used in Azure, am I right?
Yes, this comes into the picture now. As we are discussing, where this is enabling or disabling. But then when this comes, when we use the identity, like identity provided from the identity service, when we need to authenticate, for example, if I am writing any code, say CSOM base, client-side object model, and then, or if I'm using the Graph API, and for my account, which I'm using the MFA, so at that time, I need to select as the approach, and basically it's OAuth 2, I guess, if I remember correctly.
Okay.
Yeah.
So
And
is it different from SSO? This one, this MFA, we like in our devices we need to get the authentication security codes actually.
yes,
But
correct.
SSO is totally different in a delta, different way, am I right?
This is single sign on. If you are talking about this comes,
Okay. Sorry to mess up that. I'm just had a curious to know actually.
no,
That
no,
is different technology, am I right?
yeah, no, no, it's a SSO as well, but I'm just giving the scenario. Same, my say, for example, my organization had previously on premises.
Right.
And now we move to the cloud as well. We have Microsoft 365 licenses as well, but still some data or financial kind of applications or something which I didn't move to the SharePoint Online or Microsoft 365, and which is on the old portals. So when I need to switch in between from old portal to M365 or vice versa, so my organization provide me a flexibility by implementing the single sign-on,
Okay. Okay.
by implementing the SA. So why? Because then I don't need to, there we do the Active Directory sync. My on-premise Active Directory is get synced with my Azure Active Directory. I'm using the same username password then in that case.
Right.
Because then that was the flexibility. So I don't want to maintain two different kind of username and passwords for my on-premise portal or for my online portal.
So I used to previously I used to hear this SSO. It's very quite common, and in some websites I have seen SAML actually SAML, and then this MFA and all recent advancements. Actually.
Yeah, MFA is nowadays a very important, I would say, as I mentioned, if you are initially there and the two events which happened with me itself, there were no two-factor authentication while using either Facebook, say, or WhatsApp, say, or GPay, say. So, and as Microsoft statistics also says that 99% identity-related attacks means related to the username and password hacking or threat, those are get reduced because of the MFA or multi-factor authentication. One common example of OTP as well. The OTP comes to our device when we log into our bank portal or something, right? When we do the
Right.
transactions, OTP come to our mobile.
Mobiles.
So even though my card details are get hacked or my bank portal username password there is get hacked, unless and until I can't put the OTP from my mobile device, it won't get allow me to do any transaction, right?
Okay.
So that was the extra layer that was very necessary. Still, my phone may get hacked and OTP get hacked. That happens. That was the extra precautions or next level of security which need to be taken care. But at least this reduce quite good amount of attacks threats because that OTP is also again time bound. It is
Right.
only
Few seconds. Actually.
yeah, for a couple of minutes or 10 minutes maximum.
Right. Right.
So this MFA is a very important, and Microsoft, and why not? If I have see my organization is there and I have users licenses there, I am paying for the Office 365 licenses. This security default feature is coming with all basic subscriptions. So why I should not implement it? Correct? It should be there. I should be like utilizing my pricing of my licenses as well in that sense.
Right. Right.
Yeah, so yeah, this is the basic. It should be there for me, for my team members, users, or organization. And one
Right.
more point I quickly cover, even though it's late, but important point. It was in agenda. What happens? See, previously my organization don't have the MFA, but I enable it and I have certain accounts, Power Automates or something where Power Apps where I'm logged in, my Power Automate is, my flow is executing with certain account and now suddenly MFA enable. So remember those gates stop working in your environment, in your production tenant. And eventually we might not understand why those get stop or something. They shows like unauthenticated error, 404 something, sorry, 403, forbidden kind of error in their flow. So whenever this kind of enabled MFA is enabled, we need to re-authenticate those all the flows with that account which is used. So this is also one important point. Another important point is best practices which says we shouldn't use any account for the uh, power automates or something. We should use the service account where MFA is not, and that service account is only for that specific purpose. And sometime, and for login through some PowerShell or something where we need to use the username password to connect the tenant or Exchange Online or Teams Online. If we could use the Microsoft Client app or secret key or certificate, then that was the best. To use the client app, Azure Client app and the secret key, or Azure Client app and the my X059 certificate. That was the best practices rather than using the username and password, even though it was a service account, just to avoid the username and password. Okay. Yes.
So any more doubts?
Any other
Participants?
point or question?
So now let me share the screen. So participants, the secret code for downloading the certificate is 4R10JZ. 4R1 is not 0, OJZ. Okay, let me share this in the chart. Okay, participants, you can download the certificate by using the link which is provided in the chart, and you can provide the secret code by clicking the link, claim the certificate link, and so that your certificate will be sent to your mail ID. So I think we come to end of the session. So on behalf of Multicloud for you, we like to thank Prasham Shabra for giving a wonderful session on how to do authentication in Microsoft 365. So once again, on behalf of Multicloud for you, we'd like to thank Prasham Shabra for giving a wonderful session.
Thank you all, and thank you all for joining at this time. Any feedback are most welcome. Any suggestion, thoughts are most welcome. Anytime can communicate with Anna over the LinkedIn or through Multicloud or through email communication. Thank you so much and have a fantastic weekend ahead. So it's okay, Gavaskar? Should we?
Yeah, okay. We can, okay.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much.
Okay, thank you all the participants for attending the session. Have a nice day.
Yep. Bye for